I think it was called Coyote Moon when I was originally doing it. I remember working with Jamie Presley. She was absolutely stunning. She was a dancer. She cussed like a sailor. It was very fun.
Actor, comedian, and legend Jimmy Hanks joins us today for an epic conversation from Desert Heat to Lois and Clark, Toys R Us. Super excited, guys. Let's do it. Mr. Jimmy, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Congrats on all your amazing work, talent, and success. How are you, man?
Good. Fine. Yeah. I'm feeling great.
So awesome. Well, it's an absolute honor to have you here. And my introduction to you was a little bit different. It was from a little movie called Desert Heat. I'm a huge Van Damme fan, huge action fan, and you played Buddy the bus driver.
Rhonda, do you think Dottie would go out with me?
She likes you, buddy. Why don't you ask her?
So I see you in this movie, and when I heard your voice, my initial reaction was, wow, this guy sounds a lot like Tom Hanks. I mean, if Tom had a son or a brother, it would be that guy right there.
I mean, there's one passenger out there, and it's military. It's half price. Oh, could you tell her I'm sorry I missed her?
Sure will.
And then, of course, I find out that you are a Hanks. And, again, man, congrats. I mean, how did you get involved in Desert Heat?
Well, at the time I was pretty good friends with a couple of casting directors, and I had said, if you ever need a reader to come in and read for people, I will. I think it was called Coyote Moon when I was originally doing it. John Avildsen was the director who did Karate Kid and the Rocky movies, and a really great guy. So they asked me to come in and be his reader, and which ended up being for like about a week. And then at the end of it, he just went, I like what you're doing. You're good. And I'm definitely going to have you in the movie. And I'm like, great, cool. I was hoping that would happen, but the Buddy character, as far as the actual credit goes, it still just says bus driver. And I remember being on the set and he let's come up with a name for this guy. And I'm going, cool, my part has a name now. That's cool. But then I thought, great, my part has a name. And then the credits still came out and it was bus driver. God damn it. But yeah, it was really fun. I didn't have any scenes with Jean-Claude, but there was a lot of, hanging around the set. And at the time, he had just gotten out of rehab. So he was talking about that a lot. And it was, everybody knew. But yeah, he was, he was really living and breathing his rehab at that time. And then sitting around with Pat Morita, that was really cool. He spoke very highly of John Avildsen. He really liked him and, was very grateful for, the Karate Kid and everything. So, and he was a real class act. I remember working with Jamie Presley, and she wasn't really known, but it's like every guy in the set was going, oh my God, because she was absolutely, stunning. She was a dancer and had, she was in amazing shape. She was just gorgeous. She cussed like a sailor. And which, in a way, just kind of puts everybody at ease. Like, okay, well, she's being her.
Absolutely, man. She's gorgeous. And this was my introduction to Jamie as well. I actually thought she had that accent. I thought she pulled that off really nice. And just beautiful, beautiful girl. And her and Gabrielle, I thought they were fantastic. Everyone in the diner scenes, those were my favorite scenes. I felt like all of you just kind of brought out the best in Jean-Claude. And even the scenes with Gabrielle and Jean-Claude, the whole, romantic exchanges. And it was the first time I had ever seen Jean-Claude in that kind of environment. But I love this movie. I've seen it 1,000 times. And again, I'm a huge action Van Damme fan. And speaking of action movies, Jimmy, question. We fast forward a little bit. I saw a trailer to a film called Acts of Violence. I think this was around 2010. And you're in it. And did that movie ever come out? You were in it. Lily Sobieski, I hope I say that correctly. Ron Perlman. I mean, it was another martial arts action movie. And I've tried to find it everywhere. I've even looked on eBay. Nothing. I can't find it.
I don't know. I have no idea if that is out and available anywhere. Il Kim, he was a martial arts instructor and trainer. And he was her, Lily Sobieski, trainer for something. I don't remember, but that's how they knew each other. If I'm remembering the story right, I talked to him quite a bit at one time. I haven't talked to him in years.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm glad that we're talking about it now. We shed a little bit of light because I would love to see it, So if Mr. Ill or if Miss Lily's watching, please, the invitation is always open. I would love to speak with you both, or I would love to hear about this film. So please feel free to send me an email anytime. But that's awesome, man. Congrats. And, I'm an indie filmmaker myself, so I totally understand production and timelines. And sometimes things just take a little bit longer. I mean, the time is whatever it needs to be. So, again, I'm excited to see it. Hopefully one day we will. And thank you for sharing. So going back to my initial reaction, when I see you in Desert Heat, I said that you sounded like Tom. I mean, that similar, the tone, the rhythm that you guys have. I mean, is that the family trait, the family gene? How did you get started? How did you get into acting?
Well, as far as genetics go, Tom and I are definitely more similar than the others. There's Hank's traits that we all have. There was a time when I decided to do stand-up. I was waiting tables at the Improv in Santa Monica, which is no longer there. I look a lot like and sound a lot like somebody who's arguably the most famous person in the world. And it does not matter where I've been. I've been in some of the most offbeat, island nations or whatever. And I'll have people, walking trails in the jungles or walking, whatever, and go, wow, you look like this. So I get it all the time. I really wanted to avoid talking about Tom, but I could not, because I would go up and I'd be, standing up there trying to do some, and nobody was listening to me. And I finally, after, 6-9 months, I went, I have to address it. Once I embraced it, it ended up being the easiest way to start a gig. So what I would do is I would just go out and I would just walk out and stand there for like 30 seconds and not say a thing. And universally, every single time I went out, it was weird. I mean, it was not like it happened sometimes. It was every time. Granted, this is 1993 or 94. I would just stand there for 30 seconds and just the audience was, and it would just get louder and louder and louder and louder. And I would finally just go, bring the microphone up to my mouth and go, I know what you're thinking. And, and that was it, that's it. And then I would throw out a few stupid jokes.
So you were pretending to, holy cow, that's genius, man.
It was weird. It was like it worked every freaking time. It was just, and again, it was a bit of timing in that I just had to let the audience kind of build it up because they're going, he's not saying anything. What's going on? Is that him? And then, so, that was really fun. I got sucked into the industry really fast. My wife was she got a job as a receptionist for an agency, a talent agency, and the guy who owned it found out who I was related to and went, oh, yeah. And so unfortunately he put me in front of people that I should never have been in front of because I was far, far too green. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But luckily, introduced me to a really good teacher. The very first class I did, I remember doing okay. And right after the scene, I just went, oh, this is what I want to do. And then I've been doing it ever since. Stand-up was probably the best thing I did for my career. It gave me the confidence knowing that I can take command of a room. And that's when you're doing stand-up, everybody there wants you to be good. And you have a microphone. So you can talk over everybody and everything. And everybody's like, okay, what do you got? And that's the same as when you walk into an audition. They're going, okay, what do you got? It's great if you get a real reaction out of an audition room. but generally you don't. And oftentimes they're distracted by, because they're ordering lunch, or they're thinking about somebody else, or they're on the line with the producer or whatever. So you just go in and do what you want. And over time, I ended up having enough experiences where I went into a room and just felt like I killed it and nothing. And then the absolute opposite. I'd go in and go, man, that was just fucking crickets. There was no reaction at all. And then I get a call on the way home saying I got it. And going, wow, I didn't see that happening.
That's so awesome. It definitely adds to your talent and to your timing. I mean, congrats again, man. Congrats to you and your whole family. I mean, I just think it's amazing. That's what I love about this show is, I'm hearing a lot of these stories for the very first time, from the people directly. And it's just so awesome. So I do want to give a super shout out to our mutual friend, Glenn Maska. I had him here on the show. He was in the Superboy TV series, and he's the one that helped us arrange this interview. So thank you, Glenn. And Jimmy, you were in your own super show. You were in Lois and Clark. And that's when I saw you next. I went from Desert Heat to Lois and Clark. And again, man, that was just so awesome. And let me ask you this, because this was around 96 when this episode came out, and you kind of had this little cowboy thing going on. The first Toy Story had already come out. I mean, was that coincidence, or?
I believe they did it on purpose, but they would not admit it. But I didn't care. It was fine. I had fun with it. I was playing around a lot because they actually, unlike Woody, he actually had a toy gun in his holster, and I was constantly pulling it like, ha! That was very fun. Dean, super nice guy. He was really generous with his time. He actually, by the time I got there, it was pretty late in their week. Because it was an hour long, and to do an hour long, I believe at the time, they usually shot 8 or 9 days. And by the time I showed up, I think I showed up on the 8th or 9th day. They shot it all out, and they said, okay, everybody, that's a wrap on Dean for the day, blah, blah, blah. But he stayed and did all his off-camera stuff, which I thought was really generous of him, because I know, not just, like in films where, it's a short duration you're doing it, but, by the time I showed up, they were a couple of seasons in, and it had to have been a grind, and he just stayed and just did it anyway. He totally could have just left and gone home and wrapped for the day, and then I bumped into him a couple other times. Like I remember one time I was eating at a restaurant, which is no longer Jerry's Deli. And I was sitting outside with a friend, and all of a sudden there's this knock on the window behind me. And I turn around, there's Dean. He's going, "Hey man, how you doing?" through the window. And I went, "Oh," and the guy sitting next to me, I was having lunch with, what the hell was that about? I said, "I did Lois and Clark. That's Dean Cain." He knew who Dean Cain was right away. He says, "What's going on?" So, but that's to me is when famous people actually remember the ordinary people. I always think that's a sign of a really class person.
Yeah, man, that's epic. Love it, man. And when it comes to these shows, the movies, the projects that you were involved in, I mean, these are the movies, these are the shows, the genre that I grew up with and that I watch and still watch all the time. Of course, I've seen a lot of Tom's work. I mean, he's had an epic career. He's a legend as well. But I mean, these were the movies and shows, the stuff that you worked on. That's what I grew up with. I mean, it's my childhood, it's my adulthood and childhood, Jimmy, when I was talking to Glenn, when we were, setting all this up, he said, did you know that Jimmy was the voice of the Giraffe, Toys R Us, Jeffrey the Giraffe. Dude, I mean, movies aside, that's huge, man. You're an icon. I mean, this is what makes you a legend, man. I mean, Toys R Us, is everybody's childhood. Toys R Us was Disneyland for me and my family. We kind of grew up semi-poor, so to go to Toys R Us was like going to Disneyland. And then, I have daughters, and when I would take them, I mean, it was heaven. It was toy heaven. I mean, how did you get that job?
Toys R Us, still, when people ask me, what's your favorite job you've ever had? And it's always Toys R Us. It was, how did I get it? I mean, I just went and auditioned for it. The casting director was a woman, Carol Kimball. I get the copy. I'm waiting out in the waiting room, and then she brings me into the booth and says, yeah, this is like the second round. They've seen everybody, and she said, like they saw Don Castellaneta, Homer Simpson. They've seen everybody. And now this is their second round, and all they don't want a character. They don't want a cartoony voice. They just want somebody who a kid who loves toys. And I went, oh, no problem there. I didn't do anything other than just be really enthusiastic about toys. And I remember Carol, as I walked out, Carol went, that's really what they're looking for. And then I got it. And it was the coolest job. One of the things I loved about it is that they let me improv like crazy. I remember one time, it was a Christmas spot. The commercial opens up and there's two parents going, "Where are the kids?" "Oh, they're upstairs, and Jeffrey's reading to them." And so Jeffrey Giraffe, his head is going through the window, and the kids have the thing, and he's reading over their shoulder. And at one point, I was in one of the takes, I was just getting so excited, and I spit on the copy. And I just rolled with it, and I went, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to spit on you, but I get so excited." And I look up, and I finish that take, and I look up, and everybody in the control room behind the glass is cracking up. And I hear that, I finally hear this click. "Oh my God, we love the thing about the spitting. Can you keep that in?" And so it's it's those are floating around. You can find a lot of those commercials online, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Well, you've definitely inspired, obviously the small screen, the big screen, and in real life. I mean, so congratulations. I mean, you really are an icon, man. You're a legend. You're a real life hero. And again, it's been an absolute honor to have you. Mr. Jimmy, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Super congrats on all your incredible work, talent, and success.
Oh, your bar is very low. So. I am not an icon or a hero, but as long as I did something that entertained you, great. That's all I can hope for. It's my pleasure, and hope we get to do it again.
Absolutely. This is part 1. We'll definitely bring you back for a part 2, maybe a part 3. Thank you, Mr. Jimmy. I appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Rewatch Desert Heat, Lois and Clark. Hopefully we'll get to see Acts of Violence, Mr. Ill, Miss Lily. The invitation is always open. Toys R Us commercials are all over YouTube. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.